We've been lied to for generations. Popular culture has painted a picture of a noble, golden-maned hero who protects the weak and rules with justice. But the reality of the African lion is far more sinister. In the vast, unforgiving plains of the savannah, the title of king isn't inherited. It is stolen through blood, betrayal, and a level of calculated cruelty that would make a Roman emperor blush. Today, we go beyond the postcard images. We are diving into the psychological warfare, the brutal politics, and the dark biological imperatives that drive the world's most famous predator. You aren't watching a nature documentary. You are watching a crime thriller where the stakes are life, death, and the absolute survival of the genetic line. This is a dark empire of the lion. Look at him, standing on a kopje, his mane flowing in the wind. To us, he looks majestic. To the animals of the savannah, he is a walking nightmare. But the secret that most people don't realize is that the lion is a master of energy conservation, or as some call it, the ultimate lazy tyrant. A male lion can spend up to 20 hours a day sleeping. But don't mistake his lethargy for peace. This is a strategic hibernation. While the lionesses are out in the scorching sun, risking their lives to bring down a 1,000-pound buffalo, the king sits back. He waits. And when the kill is made, he doesn't share. He claims a lion's share, often physically beating the females and cubs away from the carcass until his stomach is full. This isn't just about hunger. It's a constant reinforcement of dominance. If you don't eat first, you aren't the king. The social structure of a pride is a delicate balance of terror and cooperation. Unlike other cats, lions are forced into social groups. But this isn't for friendship. It's for defense. Because in this world, if you are alone, you are a target. Even for a king, the throne is a lonely, dangerous place. The most dangerous threat to a king isn't a hyena or a crocodile. It's another lion, specifically the nomads. These are young, powerful males who were kicked out of their own prides years ago and have been wandering the wilderness, honing their killing skills. They are the shadow army waiting for the king to show a single sign of weakness. When a nomadic coalition decides to move in, the air changes. They don't just walk in, they wage a psychological war. They roar at the borders of the territory, a sound that can be heard 5 miles away, vibrating in the chest of the sitting king. It's a message. Your time is up. When the fight finally happens, it is visceral. This isn't a boxing match. It's an execution attempt. They aim for the spine, the throat, and the testicles. They want to permanently disable the ruler. If the king loses, he is lucky if he escapes with his life. But his escape is the beginning of a tragedy for those he left behind. Now we enter the darkest chapter of lion biology, infanticide. The moment a new king takes over a pride, he has a biological clock ticking. He needs a lioness to produce his offspring immediately. But a lioness won't mate as long as she has young cubs. The new king's solution is efficient and heartless. He hunts down every cub under the age of 9 months. He doesn't eat them. He simply kills them. He snaps their necks or crushes their skulls. It is a systematic cleansing of the previous king's DNA. The mothers will fight to the death to protect their young, but they are no match for a 400-pound male. Within days, the pride is silent. The cubs are gone. And in a strange, brutal twist of nature, the females will go into heat just days later, mating with the very monster that murdered their children. This is the cold, hard logic of the savannah. It's not about emotions. It's about the survival of the strongest gene. To understand why the lion is the king of the night, you have to look into his eyes, literally. Behind the retina lies a hidden weapon called the tapetum lucidum. Think of it as a biological mirror. This layer reflects light back to the retina a second time, giving the lion's brain 2 chances to process every single photon of light. While a human sees a wall of blackness, the lion sees a high-contrast, silver-toned landscape. He can see 6 times better than you in the dark. But it's not just about brightness. It's about motion detection. His eyes are wired to ignore the stationary grass and focus entirely on the micro-twitch of a zebra's ear 200 yards away. Have you ever noticed the white stripes under the lion's eyes? Those aren't for decoration. Those white patches are like landing lights. They reflect the faintest moonlight into the eyes, enhancing his vision even further. He isn't just looking at the prey. He is scanning their heat, their fear, and their most vulnerable path of escape. A 450-pound beast should make a lot of noise moving through dry, crunchy grass. But the lion is a ghost. His paws are equipped with thick, soft pads that act as natural shock absorbers and silencers. He doesn't walk, he flows. Every step is calculated. He places his hind paw exactly where his front paw was, ensuring he doesn't step on a dry twig or loose rock. This is silent marching. At this stage of the hunt, the king is invisible. His tawny coat, which looked golden in the sun, now turns into a muddy gray-brown that perfectly matches the moonlit shadows. But the true terror lies in his claws. Unlike a dog's claws that stay out and get dull, the lion's claws are retractable. They stay hidden in sheaths, kept razor-sharp and sterile until the moment of impact. They are curved like meat hooks, designed to lock into the skin of a buffalo and never let go. Once those hooks are in, the physics of the hunt change. The lion becomes an anchor, using his massive weight to bring down animals 3 times his size. Contrary to popular belief, lions don't usually kill by biting the head. They are more sophisticated than that. They kill by precision suffocation. When the lion finally leaps, a 10-foot explosion of muscle, he aims for the throat or the muzzle. He doesn't want to draw blood immediately. He wants to cut off the air. He locks his massive jaws around the windpipe and simply waits. It is a cold, calculated waiting game. He feels the prey's heartbeat slowing down through his teeth. He feels the frantic struggle of the lungs as they collapse. In the pitch black of the African night, this struggle can last for 10 minutes. The rest of the pride gathers around, not to help, but to wait for the final twitch. This is the brutal efficiency of the night assassin. No wasted energy, no unnecessary noise, just a silent, dark transition from a living being to a meal. When the sun rises tomorrow, the tourists in their jeeps will see a majestic lion sleeping peacefully. They will have no idea the biological horror that unfolded under the stars just a few hours prior. The king has eaten. The throne is secure for one more day. In the human world, we have laws and elections. In the world of the lion, there is only the law of the blade, and that blade is made of bone and keratin. If you think being the king is about luxury, you are dead wrong. It is a state of constant, paralyzing paranoia. Every morning the sun rises over the savannah. It brings a new threat to the throne. The pride is a political entity, a kingdom held together not by loyalty, but by necessity and fear. But the real war isn't happening inside the pride. It's brewing at the borders. This is a story of the coalitions, the brotherhoods of blood that roam the wilderness like mercenary armies, waiting for the perfect moment to execute a coup that will change the history of the pride forever. This is not nature. This is high-stakes political warfare. To understand a king, you must first understand the rebel. When a young male lion reaches the age of 3, his life takes a brutal turn. His own father, the king who protected him since birth, suddenly becomes his greatest enemy. Why? Because the king senses a rising testosterone. He sees a future rival in his own son's eyes. The expulsion is violent. The young males are bitten, clawed, and driven out into the no-man's land. This is a nomadic phase, the most dangerous time in a lion's life. They have no pride, no territory, and no one to hunt for them. Most die here, from starvation, from hyena attacks, or from wandering into another king's territory. But those who survive, they become nomad coalitions. Usually brothers or cousins, they form a pact of steel. They spend years in the wilderness, hunting buffalo, growing massive muscles, and sharpening their combat skills. They aren't just lions anymore. They are a specialized hit squad. They have nothing to lose and a kingdom to gain. They spend months patrolling the borders of pride, scent marking, roaring at night, and testing the sitting king's resolve. They are looking for a crack in the armor, a limp, a scar, or a sign of age. When the coup begins, it's not a fair fight. It's a gang war. If the sitting king is alone and the intruders are a coalition of 3, the math is simple. The king is going to die or be mutilated. The strategy is terrifyingly human-like. One intruder will distract the king from the front, taking the blows, while the others go for the rear. They target the most sensitive and vital areas. They don't just want to win. They want to end the king's ability to ever fight back. They go for the spine to paralyze him, or the hind legs to take away his mobility. The sound of a throne war is something you never forget. It's a mix of thunderous roars that can be felt in the ground and the sickening sound of teeth meeting flesh. This is a moment where the majesty of the lion disappears and the monster takes over. The lionesses of the pride often stand at a distance, watching. They don't interfere. Why? Because they are waiting to see who is the strongest. In their world, loyalty is a death sentence. They must follow the winner to ensure their own survival. The battle is won. The old king is either dead or a broken shadow of his former self, wandering the outskirts until the hyenas find him. But for the new kings, the work has just begun. To truly own the pride, they must perform the most horrific act in nature, the Great Purge. Infanticide is a cold, biological necessity for the new usurpers. As long as the lionesses are nursing the old king's cubs, they won't go into heat. The new kings have no interest in raising a rival's children. They systematically hunt down every single cub. They find them in the tall grass, in the rock crevices, and even snatch them from their mother's paws. The psychological toll on the pride is immense. The lionesses will often stage a false heat to distract the males, or try to hide the cubs miles away, but the new kings have a sense of smell that no secret can hide. Once the cubs are gone, the mother's bodies reset. Within days, they are ready to mate with the very murderers who destroyed their families. This is the ultimate dark irony of the savannah. The cycle of life is fueled by the cycle of death. The new king's DNA is now the only DNA that matters. The throne has been paid for in blood, and the countdown to the next coup begins immediately. If you think the lion is a mindless brawler who wins through brute strength alone, you are fundamentally mistaken. In the unforgiving arena of the African savannah, strength is cheap. Intelligence is a currency of survival. Behind those amber eyes lies a brain that functions like a military commander. When the sun sets, the pride transforms into a coordinated strike team. This isn't a chaotic rush. It's a high-stakes game of chess where every move is calculated and every position is earned. They don't just hunt. They execute a strategy of terror. They understand geometry. They understand wind direction. And most importantly, they understand the psychology of fear. Today, we break down the tactical genius of the pride. We look at the flanking maneuvers, the ambush zones, and the terrifying patience of the world's most disciplined killing machine. The hunt begins long before the first claw is unsheathed. It begins with the spread. In a pride, every lioness has a role, a position on the field, much like a professional football team. There are the wings, the flankers, and the centers, the ambushers. The wings move first. They are often the younger, faster lionesses. They don't move toward the prey. They move away from it, circling wide, staying downwind so their scent isn't carried to the herd. They can spend 4 to 5 minutes crawling on their bellies through grass that is only 6 inches high. They are the invisible net. Their job is to get behind the herd without being seen. Once the wings are in position, the trap is set. They intentionally reveal themselves just enough to cause a controlled panic. They don't want the herd to scatter in all directions. They want to herd them into a specific kill zone where the centers, the most powerful and experienced hunters, are lying in wait. This level of communication doesn't happen through sound. It happens through visual cues and an instinctual bond that has been perfected over millions of years. It's a silent, deadly language of movement. When the trap is sprung, the physics of the savannah take over. A buffalo weighs nearly 2,000 pounds, 4 times the weight of a lioness. A direct head-on collision would result in broken bones for the cat. This is where the strategic tackle comes in. The lioness doesn't jump at the buffalo. She jumps on it. She targets the hip or the shoulder, using her retractable claws as grappling hooks. Once she is attached, she becomes a 500-pound anchor. She uses her weight to throw the prey off balance. By pulling on the rear of the animal, she forces it to slow down, allowing the rest of the strike team to close in. But the most incredible part of this strategy is a division of labor. While one lioness locks onto the throat, another may grab the muzzle to seal the mouth, while a third target the hamstrings to prevent the animal from kicking. This is a level of cooperative hunting that is almost unique in the animal kingdom. They are calculating the center of gravity, the force of the kick, and the most efficient way to bring a giant to its knees. It is mechanical, it is brutal, and it is perfectly engineered. But the hunt doesn't end with a kill. In fact, for the lion, the most dangerous part is just beginning, the battle for the spoils. The savannah has ears. The moment a kill is made, the sound of the struggle and the scent of fresh blood acts like a dinner bell for every scavenger within 10 miles. Chief among them is the spotted hyena. The rivalry between lions and hyenas isn't just about food. It's an ancient, ancestral blood feud. Hyenas are not just scavengers. They are powerful predators in their own right, and in large numbers, they can and will overpower a group of lionesses. This is when the king finally earns his keep. The male lion, who may have slept through the entire hunt, enters the fray. His role in the strategy of terror is a heavy enforcer. When a 450-pound male lion roars at a pack of hyenas, the vibration is so intense it can stop a hyena's heart for a split second. He doesn't just want the food. He wants to kill the competition. He will specifically target the matriarch of the hyena pack. He knows that if he kills the leader, the army collapses. This is total war. No mercy, no retreat. By the time the sun rises, the battlefield is littered with the remains of the prey and the broken bodies of those who tried to steal from the king's table. In the world of the lion, there is a fate far worse than death. It is called exile. We spent the last chapters looking at the glory of the king and the power of the pride. But for every king sitting on a throne, there are a dozen shadows, discarded, broken, and lonely males wandering the fringes of the world. These are the outcasts. They are the princes who were kicked out of their homes, or the former kings who were brutally dethroned. For them, the savannah is no longer a kingdom. It is a giant, open-air graveyard. Without a pride to hunt for him, a lion is a 400-pound target. Every step he takes is a gamble with starvation. Today, we'll look at the most desperate chapter of lion biology, the science of the nomad. How does a creature built for social warfare survive when he is the only soldier left on the battlefield? The moment a lion is alone, his biological clock starts ticking backward. A lion's body is a high-performance machine that requires massive amounts of protein to maintain its muscle mass. Without the strike team of the lionesses, the outcast's hunting success rate drops from 30% to less than 5%. He begins to lose the very thing that makes him a predator, his weight. When a lion's ribs start to show, it's not just about hunger, it's about muscle atrophy. His brain starts to prioritize vital organs over hunting muscles. He becomes slower. His roar, once a weapon of terror, becomes a raspy cough. The psychology of the outcast is one of pure desperation. He is forced to do the unthinkable, scavenging. The king is reduced to eating rotting carcasses left behind by leopards or even fighting off vultures for a scrap of skin. In the USA documentaries, we often see the heroic hunt, but the reality for the outcast is weeks of gnawing on dry bones and drinking stagnant, parasite-filled water. This is a slow death, a test of mental fortitude that few humans could ever imagine. The savannah is a neighborhood that smells weakness. When a lion has a pride, he is untouchable. When he is an outcast, he is a walking meal for his rivals. The spotted hyenas, who would normally run from a male lion, can sense the scent of the exile. They know he has no backup. They know he is tired. They begin a process called mobbing. They don't attack head-on. They surround him in a circle of giggling terror. They nip at his hamstrings. They tear at his tail, and they wait for him to collapse from exhaustion. For an outcast, sleeping is the most dangerous thing he can do. He must sleep with one eye open, often climbing into thick thorn bushes just to protect his rear. Then there are the territorial borders. An outcast is a refugee. Every time he crosses into a new area, he is trespassing on another king's land. He has to stay silent. If he roars, he invites a death sentence. He becomes a ghost, moving only in the deepest part of the night, hiding in the shadows of the very kingdom he once dreamed of ruling. It is a life of constant, vibrating fear. But there's a light at the end of this dark tunnel. This is where the story of the outcast becomes a story of the brotherhood. Occasionally, two lonely exiles, strangers from different bloodlines, will meet in the wilderness. Normally, they would fight to the death. But desperation breeds a strange kind of logic. They look at each other and realize, I cannot survive alone, but together we can be kings. This is a formation of a foreign coalition. They begin to share food. They groom each other's wounds. They start to hunt together, doubling their success rate overnight. This pact of the outcasts is the most dangerous force in Africa, because these lions have been through hell. They have felt the teeth of hyenas and the burn of starvation. They are battle-hardened. When these two survivors decide to stop running and start marching toward a pride, the sitting king should be terrified. They aren't just coming for food. They are coming to take back the dignity that the savannah tried to steal from them. The outcast is no longer a victim. He is a usurper, and the cycle of the Dark Empire is about to begin all over again. By Main Samajgaya. 25-minute documentary KO masterpiece banning Kuliyeyi final part, conclusion. Sabsa Zayadagiri or philosophical Honi Chei. Is part KO main any 2,500 plus words Kuliyet expand kia haiku line ki poris indajike nika. The legacy, Ban J. USA audience Kuliyeyi part emotional hook Ka Kam Kariga. Part 6. The final roar, the legacy of the fallen, 2,500 plus words. The hook, the mirage of immortality, midnight to 5 o'clock. Visual, a slow-motion shot of a lion silhouette against a massive, rising full moon. The sound of wind blowing through the grass. Deep, atmospheric cinematic music. We have seen the blood. We have seen the coups, the night assassinations, and the brutal politics of the savannah. But there is one final truth that every king must face, a truth that no amount of muscle or roar can change. Time. In the wild, time is the only predator that has a 100% success rate. The king we see today is just a fleeting shadow in the long history of the pride. His reign, though it feels eternal to the prey he hunts, is a mere heartbeat in the timeline of the African continent. This final chapter isn't about the hunt, it's about the legacy. It's about what remains when the roar fades and the crown is stripped away. This is a final roar, the end of an empire and the beginning of a legend. Every day of a king's life is a day of extreme psychological pressure. Imagine living every second knowing that your neighbors want you dead, your rivals want your throne, and even your own body is slowly betraying you. This is the cost of the crown. Biologically, a male lion in the wild rarely lives past the age of 12. Why? Because the stress of defending a pride for 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, causes telomere shortening, a rapid biological aging. He isn't just fighting physical battles. He is fighting a war against exhaustion. As he reaches his final years, his strategic value to the pride begins to drop. The lionesses, who once looked to him for protection, begin to notice the slight tremble in his legs. The cubs, his own flesh and blood, start to outrun him. He becomes a ghost king, a figurehead who is still respected, but no longer feared. The tragedy of the lion is that he knows his end is coming. He can smell the change in the wind. He can hear the younger male's roars getting closer to the heart of his territory. He is a ruler waiting for the inevitable executioner. When the end finally comes, it is rarely peaceful. There are no retirement homes in the savannah. A king usually goes out in a blaze of gore. Whether it's a final coup by a new coalition or a last stand against a massive pack of hyenas, the lion fights with ferocity that is etched into his DNA. This is a moment of total defiance. Even when he is outnumbered, even when his spine is broken and his vision is fading, the lion roars. That final roar isn't a call for help. It's a statement. It's a message to the savannah that says, I was here. I ruled. I am the king. There is a strange, dark beauty in this finality. In the USA, we often hide from the reality of death. But in the wild, death is the ultimate tribute to life. The king's body will eventually return to the earth. His bones will be crushed by hyenas. His flesh will feed the vultures. And the nutrients from his body will fertilize the very grass that the zebras eat. It is a great circle in its most brutal, honest form. The king dies so that the kingdom can continue. But is the king truly gone? No, because of the very infanticide and brutal selection we discussed earlier. His DNA is now walking the earth in the form of his surviving daughters and the sons who managed to escape. His strength, his tactical mind, and his terrifying roar encoded into the next generation. When you see a young lioness lead a hunt with perfect precision, you are seeing her father's legacy. When you hear a new king roar for the first time, you are hearing the echo of the ruler who came before him. The Dark Empire never truly falls. It only changes hands. The African lion remains the ultimate paradox of nature, a creature of absolute cruelty and absolute majesty. He is a mirror of our own history, a story of power, blood, family, and the search for immortality. As the stars come out over the Serengeti and the first roar of a new king vibrates through the air, we realize that the story of the lion is a story of life itself, beautiful, terrifying, and eternal. The king is dead. Long live the king. But the story of the wild never truly ends. If you felt the power of the savannah today and want to witness the most brutal, untold stories of nature's greatest predators, the ones that mainstream documentaries are too afraid to show, then you've found your home. Smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Join our pride and become part of a community that seeks the raw, unedited truth of the animal kingdom. What predator should we deconstruct next? The calculated great white or the silent leopard? Let us know in the comments below. Stay wild. Stay hungry. Until next time.